Please welcome your host for today's general session, Soul's President and Chief Executive Officer, Greg Halliday.
Welcome, everyone. So good to be with you, and I want to welcome our live audience here and all of you who are joining us virtually. And remember, it's brand day today, so it's you wear Soul Green or you wear any of the Soul colors. And I have to admit, when we saw the first few come in of our live guests today, where's Kristen? We couldn't even compete with her. Yes, and I've had several ask me, where's your green, Greg? It's hanging in my office. They made me wear a suit right now. I'll put it on later. So I hope you're having fun with brand day. And I'm really happy to spend a little time with you this morning. We're going to talk about a little bit about the part of soul that is that ongoing study of adaptogenic herbs, how we can harness them and use them in products, and how we combine them with other herbs. It's been now a pursuit of ours for more than a decade, because Soul, we've been, 8 years now, right? And a couple of years before Soul started, we sort of had that what we would describe that light bulb turning on in the head moment as we understood the great need and potential for adaptogenic herbs and formulas that we could use easily and simply and help ourselves in our lives, and just as importantly, help others. With me today are a couple of guests that'll be joining us online, Dr. Allison Caldwell-Andrews and Valerie Bledsoe. So I'll introduce them in a minute. They've got some prepared presentations, short but sweet and packed full of information. So I hope you've got your reflection book with you today, something to write with, because honestly, I think you'll want to take some notes. And then after we listen to them, I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity and follow up with a few questions, okay? And so maybe some will occur to you as well as we listen to them. Maybe jot a question down. Maybe if you even have one coming in, okay? Because you'll have a chance to chat them, and we'll handle as many as we can in the few minutes we have this morning, okay? So with that, I want to give one. I'm just sitting here looking inside the Soul Studio. There's a lot of green going on, and you all have matching shirts. Does anyone not? Well, almost everybody has a matching shirt, and if you don't, you have my favorite green shirt. So thanks to our live audience. You guys look great. You look fantastic, and you make me feel good that you're here. I don't have to talk in an empty room. All right, now we also, you probably see right here to my right, we've got the wheel of gifts. It has all your names in it, and I think that's going to happen a little later. So stay tuned for that too. We're going to give some more away. I think we've got another fun game show, a fun contest coming in. So all of that this morning in the next hour or so. And if it's okay, I do have my Cinemate. So I may not have my green on, but I'm branded. This is what I love whenever we get together at Soul, whether it's virtual or live. So let's start out with a little bit of product news, okay? Coming back to these wonderful adaptogens and how they've changed us, I'd like to start with Infatuate. Now, if you remember, about a year ago, we introduced a formula that was as much as anything Soul has ever developed, made for this day, for this time, the world that we live in, what's sort of available to us in terms of nutrition and what our habits have become, and what maybe is lacking in those habits. Because we always like to talk about, the tabletop nutrition, the foods that we prepare, and then the countertop, I like to say it that way, the food and nutrition that we get through supplements like Infatuate. And Infatuate is something that we feel all of us really have a special need for. It's full of fat. What I've done this morning is I'd like to first start with a presentation that has been prepared by Valerie Bledsoe, where she talks a little bit about healthy fats, good fats. Why are they so important? Why are we talking about them? And why 1 year later, after Infatuate, are we going to talk about this again for just a moment this morning? So with that, let's watch Valerie's presentation.
This very well may be the strangest question you get asked during this entire convention. When is the last time someone asked you if you're fat deficient? Let's think about it. Probably never, because most of us are thinking, let's get that fat off of me. But what does fat deficient really mean? What does it look like? It may be the person who has fat digestion challenges. I'm a perfect example of that. Many of you have heard my challenges with getting enough good fats to be able to sleep at night, or good enough fats to where my brain would be quiet. Well, have you heard that I also dealt with the first 5 steps in the morning when I got out of bed, that it was extremely painful? That's actually what started my journey to determine about fat and whether I was fat deficient. I was fat deficient not because I wasn't eating it, but fat deficient because I wasn't being able to break it down. Now, we would expect someone to be dealing with fat deficiency issues if they've had their gallbladder removed, because most of us know the role that the gallbladder plays in helping get fat delivered to in our body and to where it needs to go from breaking down process. So these two things are just the start of our journey. Here's another one. How many of you is this a familiar picture? Are you tired of that routine walk to the refrigerator? Now, if you're always feeling hungry, or you're always finding yourself ending up, no matter what route you take through your house, back at your refrigerator, there's a couple different things it could mean. Yes, it could mean, as we all know, that you're deficient in maybe some trace minerals and your body's not getting what it needs. Or it could mean that you're not actually getting enough water, sign of dehydration. But did you know that if you're constantly feeling hungry, it could also mean that you don't have enough fat in there to satiate you so that you're not feeling hungry. And it could be, again, because you're not being able to break it down. Now, your brain, one of the most important foods for your brain is actually fat, because it's made up a lot of fat. When your brain has enough, it has fantastic memory and recall. You're not going and finding things in strange places or creating new words. Now, if you've had any of those issues, again, let's look at fat deficient. You might also be fat deficient if you've suffered any type of head trauma. So think of those football injuries, or if we've had car accidents or any form of traumatic brain injury. Other things is focus. If we're having challenges with thinking, it might have to do with not enough fat. And of course, we cannot underscore the importance enough of supporting the body when the brain is developing during pregnancy. It's so important when I'm working with these pregnant women that they're getting enough fats so that their unborn child at that point can receive all the nutrition it needs to grow that brain properly. How many of you think this guy looks like you in the morning? When you look in the mirror, that's exactly the facial expressions you'd be making. So when you don't have enough fat, you are often too fatigued for exercise. And so isn't it kind of funny that you're too tired to exercise, and then the weight just starts creeping up, that you would ever think, maybe it's creeping up because I don't have enough fat, as in my diet. Maybe you don't have that zeal or the enthusiasm for life anymore. It's just gradually diminished to where you're just like, yay, another day. Or it might actually be showing up with a mid-afternoon energy crash. Again, remember, fat can help us to keep our blood sugar more balanced, therefore helping to prevent the blood sugar crash and giving us more energy, being able to get those things done. Fat is extremely important when it comes to hormones, because it does provide our building blocks. When we don't have enough of that, we can see it show up in different ways. For women, one of the ways it can show up is miscarriages. For men, it can show up with sterility. Healthy libido. If you don't have the fat to help support and build the hormones are kind of a critical part of being able to have libido to begin with. So again, we need that fat to support those hormones. Menopause. Menopause can be a whole new ballgame when you don't have enough correct fat to support it. I remember what a big deal and game changer our soul megas were for me when I went into menopause. It's like another light was turned on in my brain. And another thing, fats provide the building blocks for those hormones, which can also tie into our mood swings. But we can also see all kinds of different things. Mood swings tied to PMS, mood swings just tied to life, mood swings tied to menopause. But in generally, we're going to see a big player with the hormones, and that being out of balance as a result of not having the building blocks to build it to start with. How many of you can relate to this? Sharp cravings for fattening foods, like all-consuming cravings, the kind that you can't get the thought out of your head, and you just obsess over, I have to have that ice cream. or I have to have that uh, butter, and I have to have that cheesecake. Couple great examples that really were breaking down to fat deficiencies is I've seen children with Asperger's that craved butter, would just grab it and eat it. Well, one of the things that shows up with them is they're fat deficient. I've seen pregnant women that find out that, oh my gosh, their husband comes home and they've consumed an entire cheesecake and they're just like, I just couldn't stop. Well, their body's telling them they need fat. Skin health. So many times we have this dry skin, and it's just like there in the picture, dry, flaking, peeling, cracking. And to me, this picture of the dried up lake bed here was a perfect example of what it feels like. And so as the skin is dry, what happens, because it's not getting enough fats, is it can't hold the moisture in. And so the water leaves the cell, and it literally gets cracking and drying like that. And so how is anything going to heal when your skin's like that? How are you going to have that rosy glow? How are you going to have, soft skin? You're not. Fats become very important for this, and not the kind where you just put it on top. We're talking about coming in at the foundation and giving it to you. So there's puzzle pieces that we're putting together here. And we've only covered a little bit of this, just skim the surface. But what you've already learned is right fats can make a difference. Right fats help to provide energy. They're going to help the cell membranes and the nerve sheets. They're really important for your fat-soluble vitamins, which is something that's going to help all this to function. It's going to be important for brain development, your learning abilities, pregnancy, building blocks for our hormones, and they even play a role in our immune system response. We also see that it lowers inflammation, and it helps us to feel full and satiated. Again, we're talking about the right fats. And that, again, it'll be like a puzzle piece that's connected. So what do the right fats look like? In this case, it looks like infatuate. And one of the reasons I love this is because it's 100% plant sourced. We're really good about getting the wrong fats, or too many of the omega-6s and not enough omega-3s. Or maybe we're getting omega-3s from fish, and there's people like me that can't break it down or don't even like fish. But we still need the fats. And as always, our products always have adaptogens in it. So this is adaptogen enhanced, and we've got amazing nutritional fat blend here with the sacha inchi, MCT oil, or coconut oil powder. It's going to provide that MCT, avocado oil. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I really want to point out this soothing digestive blend, because if you're like me and you realize that part of your issue is that not that you're not eating the fats, but you can't get them out of the food that you're eating, then being able to support that digestive tract, it becomes a 1-2 punch. It becomes powerful. Most people have no issues with getting enough omega-6s. They just don't get enough omega-3s. In fact, they have a ridiculous ratio often in their diet, really high, whereas your ratio should be about 1-to-1, 1 omega-3 to 1 omega-6. I've seen research and reports that are 18-to-1, 20-to-1 is what's in our normal diet. So for me, having all this in this area and supporting the digestive tract is huge. So let's put it plain. People who eat your standard American diet really have a hard time getting enough omega-3s. And then because they're not necessarily in the greatest diet, they also have challenges with digestion. So we want to help them to be able to get it into their system. My personal observations from taking the infatuate, and I do a hot cup of cinnamate in the morning and add a scoop of infatuate with it. Number one, feeling very good and happy. The sacha inchi helps supply tryptophan, which is your precursor to serotonin, which is going to help you feel amazing. You combine that with the adaptogens in there, of course we're going to feel great. I'm feeling satiated for hours. I see clients and even myself no longer craving fatty foods or chocolate. And I'm not craving them because I'm actually being able to digest and get the fats out of this formula. Focus, focus, focus. I can zero in and on my thoughts. I love it. Skin is softer. We're seeing all kinds of reduction of inflammation, helps keep your blood sugar even more balanced, reduction of joint pain, and even improved eye health. These are just a few of the benefits that I've seen from having the infatuate in people's protocols. Daily use is beyond important. They're called essential fatty acids for a reason. It means your body can't make them. So, you know what? It's essential you get them from your diet on a daily basis. Think of it like the tree. We don't just get beautiful green, lush leaves and strong trunks and branches by accident. The proper nutrition has to come in through the roots and be absorbed and go through the entire tree to benefit. Same with our health. Bringing in those good fats, getting the ratio balanced in your diet or more balanced in your diet can only result in improved health. My challenge to you is power up your health with good fats. Add Infatuate into your daily protocol and stand back and feel the energy and get prepared for blast off.
Valerie, wow. That's all I have to say. She packs a lot of information in what was that, like 12 minutes or something? So let me just ask a question. Let's bring on Valerie Bledsoe, and Dr. Allison Caldwell Andrews. Hopefully we've got them joining us live, and you can see them. There they are. Okay, I've got a question for each one of you. Because Valerie, you just finished an amazing and important presentation. I saw people here. We were taking notes frantically. And Dr. Allison, I saw you listening. What is the thought that's in your mind right now as you listen to that and you think about the whole development of Infatuate and what's in it and what's involved in this? What would you like to share? First comment about this. Yes, but I can't hear you.
How's this?
Better, good, perfect.
Okay, good. I unmuted myself. How about that? I love how Valerie suggested that it's so important to take these fats every day. That point is, you can't get that enough. The idea of an essential fatty acid being something that you need to think about every day when we've been trained by our culture to never really think about taking in fat. We've been trained to ignore it or avoid it. And even though we know intellectually that we need these fats, it's still easy to kind of assume, well, of course I must have enough fat. I must eat enough. But then, like Val said, you end up standing at the refrigerator. So I love this idea of every day. My thought about that as kind of a obsessed scientist is you figure it out yourself by going and trying it out. Get your own evidence. So take a month or maybe 2 months, take 8 weeks, take the Infatuate every single day and track what happens. See what changes for you. Then you've got your own scientific evidence.
Okay, awesome, Allison. Let me ask you quickly then back to Valerie. What's your preferred way to take Infatuate for you or time of day?
Well, I like it any time of day, really. For me, the Sacha Inchi, I actually have my own bottle of Sacha Inchi by itself so I could taste what it was before it was in the blend. I don't love it a ton. We'll put it that way. It's kind of there's like a little left ways twist into it. And so I like it disguised. Yeah, I'm thinking about last year when we did that really, really fun blender contest and people made shakes with the Infatuate. There were some amazing things that happened in that moment. And so I've taken that to heart. So I always put it in with something like the Complete or with the Cinemate or some other kind of thing. I don't usually do it straight. I like it in a blend. That's me.
Awesome. Okay. All right, Valerie. Thank you, Dr. Allison. Valerie, thanks again for a wonderful presentation. Can I just ask you this question? Your favorite way? Well, you kind of shared how you take it every day. Let me ask you this. As you've helped people with Infatuate, have there been any patterns that have shown up for you in terms of sort of what you're seeing with people, or just anything that you'd like to share as you've helped people with the Infatuate that kind of comes to mind as experiences with the product?
So like you said, I love the infatuate in the cinnamate hot. That is works very well for me. But I think one of the most surprising things to me was the mindset that I had to work with. And as I watched it change, as they realize when they're stepping in with either weight issues or high cholesterol issues or some of these other factors, that we're getting across that even though they're eating fat, we're actually adding plant fats, and that's causing the problem to go the opposite direction. And when that light bulb comes on, that has almost been a consistent thing to see because it's a paradigm shift. They just are not understanding until they experience it what is going on when it comes to getting appropriate and inappropriate fats in their diet.
Okay, so it wasn't lost on me, part of your presentation, as you talked about fats and weight. And as we come into the winter season, when it's a little easier to do what you said there, oh, you have the exercise, I'm too tired to do it. And that this is great timing for this message to introduce the fats, make it part of an essential meal component for us every day. Coming into the winter season, let's see what's different this year when we bring fats in terms of gaining that winter 5 or 10, because I know even though I try to eat well, I do the same thing. I'm just more active in the summer, and I haven't been as good at the fats in the past. So I'm looking for different ways to eat it so that I don't ever forget that. Let me ask Dr. Allison too, because you mentioned in the past, I think it might have been a year ago, and Valerie, any comments you might have on this as well, and this is a final question for both of you, that fatty liver issues seem to be more and more common. And one of the benefits of infatuate is, again, back to this paradigm shift, through fats, we actually address that in a positive way. Can you comment on that, Dr. Allison, and then Valerie?
I am so glad you brought that up because I was sitting here thinking, oh, I wanted to say something about fatty liver, and I forgot in that moment. Oh, good thinking. Yeah, I think fatty liver happens much more if you look at the way our diets are changing. It's not even as if we're moving away from what we used to eat. It's that we kind of started off at this point. Many of us started off eating many more processed foods, and the fats in those foods are generally fats that you want to avoid. These fats are hard on the liver. When the liver processes fats and sugars, what happens if there are too many of those wrong fats and too much of the sugar that is not good for you, then the liver can become fatty. This non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is different from typical when we think about their liver is kind of getting a problem that you can't fix. When you get it so that you can't fix it very easily or not at all, then we call it cirrhosis. So you can kind of think of it, how much damage have you done to your liver? And that damage isn't necessarily alcohol coating your liver and making it terrible. A lot of it is that the liver is not able to function as well. And so you can have that liver be damaged, not just by alcohol, but by your regular processed food diet. So if you're eating a lot of sugar, then liver can't can't break down those sugars as easily. Sometimes it will turn them to fat. As your liver has more and more fat in it, which it doesn't want, it's supposed to have some, but I think it's on the order of, 7%. I may be making that up, but I didn't look it up like 3 seconds ago, but I think it's pretty low. When you have more fat stored in the liver, it's a sign that your liver is overwhelmed. And what studies have shown, and there are a number of studies that all show this, that good omega-3 fats will help the fats in your liver break down and go away. And so like Val said, it's like this idea of, wait, how does that make sense? I'm eating fat to get rid of fat, and it is a big paradigm shift. And so you have to say, all right, I'm just going to have faith that they're right, that the research is accurate. The research is it's hard to market great omega-3 fatty acids because it's easier to market a candy bar, right? It's a lot easier. So eating those great fats, like what is in Infatuate, designed specifically to help with problems like fatty liver, lots of omega-3s. that will help solve those problems.
Okay, Valerie, comments, additions to that?
So we have to remember that the body makes no mistakes in how it deals with anything. And it also has another ability, and it is it will sequester toxins in our fat deposits to protect us from it. So like Allison's saying, the liver's overwhelmed, it can't deal with it, but it knows it's a toxin, so it will stick it in there. It will also take a fat that it can't break down or a trans fat and grab it, says, oh, this looks like the right piece, it fits in the hole, but it doesn't do the job. So when we add the good plant fats in that are digestible, like this, these omega-3s, then it can actually target that and release that from the body. That's one of the reasons you're able to drop the weight and lose the inflammation.
I wish we had time to take questions, and I promised some questions from our virtual. So let me do this because we have one more segment here, and then we'll come back and we'll let you ask a couple of questions because I really appreciate great information, Valerie, Dr. Allison. Let's move to our next item, and then I promise I'll give a chance to chat in a question or two. The second product we want to talk about this morning, does this look familiar to anybody? Hopefully those here in the studio audience and virtual. It looks a lot like Soul Thrive, doesn't it? But it doesn't read like it. This is something we don't do very often. In fact, we don't really ever do it. We don't take it lightly. This is a product called Avant Greens. And now, how many have ever heard the word avant-garde? So I'm going to ask the live studio audience, what does avant-garde mean? What context?
Abstract.
Could be abstract. What in particular? A lot of times it's referenced in music or the arts, okay? The word avant, yeah? Hierarchy, could be. Okay, in exact definition, the word avant, French word, right? Which really means before or first, okay? Yeah, so you can look at it in a sense that way. And so the avant-garde is the guard that goes ahead, okay? In the sense of that we're meaning it here and that it's used in culture is really something that's very innovative, that's out in front, that kind of leads the way, marks the path, so to speak. Well, as we looked at what this next product is, what it encompasses, and really we could say the same thing about Infatuate, we also felt this applied to adaptogens and our whole view of holistic health, looking at health in a more complete way that the physical can affect the emotional and vice versa. And they both do that. In fact, that's balance, right? And so Avant Greens are about those greens for today and for the future, for the needs we have now, for those uniquenesses in our lives that maybe are a little different. Some things are the same as they've been, and challenges and stresses, and others are just brand new and haven't been experienced. And so Avant Greens is the new name for the formula that was known as Soul Thrive, which of course we love, and we did love the name too as well. But there are several reasons that led to this decision. Avant Greens Advanced Daily Nutrition. But notice the word daily in this. This is back to both Valerie and Allison's emphasis on daily and essential. Because that's one thing that I think we're trying to educate together, all of us. We're trying to educate those that we know and care about the essential nature of this kind of nutrition. It's just not going to be enough to do it the way that we've done it. And that's evidenced by what we're experiencing as a society with all of our health challenges that can be influenced and can be really corrected and moved into a great pathway quite quickly. So with that intro, Avant Greens there is not a formula change here, but there is a new name. And here to talk a little bit about that, we've got a presentation from Dr. Allison, then we'll take just a minute afterwards as well.
Good morning to my Soul Fam, and welcome to this 2020 virtual convention. I'm so happy to be here with you. It's the first convention I didn't have to buy pants for. So anyway, we're going to talk about Greens for Our Time. What a great title. I love this idea, Greens for Our Time. We know we need herbs more now than possibly ever because of the demands on our bodies and our minds in this time, this age. Greens are critical. Most people don't know very much about them. Most people think they're either simpler than they are or more complicated they are. And I'm telling you, yeah, they are maybe simpler than we tend to think of them in some ways. And in some ways, they're much more complicated than we tend to think. When you think about the simplicity of herbs, you can think about categorizing herbs in ways in which you can say, this herb is calming, this herb is lifting, clarifying. This herb helps me feel like I'm balancing the needs of my body, etc. Might sound familiar, right? And in some ways, when you think of them as being more complicated, we can remember how when an herb grows, it has to struggle for its existence, just like any plant, just like any human. We all have challenges, and we have to develop the things inside us that meet those challenges. This is about development. It doesn't always just get dropped on us out of the blue. If it did, every single herb grown in the most protected conditions would be the most potent, but they aren't. Those herbs that have to struggle are the herbs that have potency. Just like for us humans, when we have to struggle, we end up being much more potent, much more useful, much more interesting human beings. So when we look at herbs and their secondary metabolites, these secondary metabolites happen out of challenge. An herb grows and it needs to defend against something. And so the secondary metabolite that helps it defend is something that becomes a much more critical part of the plant. And those secondary metabolites are the part that's very medicinal for us, in addition, of course, to the protein and carbs and fat that is in every single green plant on the earth. Those secondary metabolites are just key. And so we want those in our bodies, and those can be very, very complicated in terms of their effect on us. There are so many of them. There's so much we don't know about how they operate. And then there are similarities between herbs that share the same kind of secondary metabolites and the same kinds of herbal actions. And so there's a ton to learn. You could be learning about herbs for the rest of your life and still feel like a beginner, or at least that's how I feel. I still feel like a beginner in many, many ways. One thing to keep in mind is we are not prepared by our culture to understand how herbs work or to understand that they do work. For most of us, we grew up in this culture where herbs are seen as sort of a wise woman thing, or maybe just a hippy dippy thing, or something that, you know, old wives' tales, placebo effect. Oh, these people think this does something. But now that we have modern medicine, we know that modern medicine works and nothing else works. And as you know, as you have had experience with herbs, you can see that this is not so. Your experience has created a change in what you believe. But many people haven't experienced that same kind of change. And so when they don't experience, it's hard for them to grasp that it's a possibility. And so what we want to do is help share our experiences in ways that are useful, in ways that help other people be open to possibility. That's what we want, is open you to possibility. And so let me share just a few differences between herb culture and the culture that most of us probably grew up in. Most of us grew up in this idea of you have one problem, you have one cure. And I address this a lot in the book, The Fix. And so people will think they have, you know, maybe 10 different problems. And so they need 10 different cures, one cure per problem. And so they're managing their problems all by themselves without seeing the connection. And in the herb world, there is a connection. We see the body as a whole thing operating all together, not 10 or 12 or 500 different systems. So when we're looking at one problem, one cure, you can run into a lot of conflicting ideas, conflicting treatments, things that don't really make sense in the long run. And you can miss some of the big picture items that would take care of everything all at once. And so you look at plants, herbs are very complicated in this way. They have a whole number of secondary metabolites that can resolve a number of problems. And so the idea behind herbs is let's cleanse and let us nourish. That is one of the primary herbalism philosophies. There are other ones, but that's the one, of course, that I like the most. And so that's the one I'll share with you. There's a lot of ways in which you can cleanse the body, help the body do its job at what it's designed for, to get rid of the things that get in the way, and then nourish, give the body all of the things that the body needs in order to create health. All of the building blocks that the body needs to heal the parts of the body that need healing, to enhance what needs enhancing, whatever it is. So cleansing and nourishing, that's a philosophy of healing that's very different from stop the thing that's hurting, or just plain stop the hurt, Band-Aid up the symptoms. Another thing we learn in our culture is that everything that is pharmaceutical is safe and effective. And if you look in the actual journals, you see that this is not really the case. And it's not really what science would tell you. And so in many ways, our culture is not, we think we're based in science, but it's really more based in narrative. And this is true for all cultures everywhere. Narrative is the number one thing that we want to hold up to. And science is used to support the narrative. And then science that doesn't support the narrative is wrong or ignored, completely put in the closet, or seen as wrong. And so you've seen many examples. If you take a look at the history of science, what you see primarily are great scientists being told that they were wrong or crazy or to go away, put yourself in the closet and be quiet because, too much truth. And so if you want to think about, are we really scientists? Then you want to look at the data. Are you a terrible scientist? Then what you're doing is you're supporting your narrative and ignoring all of the data that don't support your narrative. And so here with herbs, what you want to see is, what do the real data show you? What is the real science? And the real science is out there. There is so much out there now, especially I've been paying attention to this for, I don't know, close to 30 years maybe. And science, the scientific method has always been there, but it's not always applied across the board. And the amount of research done on herbs is booming. There's just so much more research that's done on herbs than there ever used to be. So I look at when I would do a search many years ago, there was really not very much available. And I look at now what happens when I do a search in terms of the research. And there are so many studies that we can draw on for many herbs. Some herbs still not very well studied, but many are. So people who advocate for herbs used to be seen as pretty uneducated, not really respectable. A lot of it was like, oh, you're just out for the money. You're just like, you just want to take advantage of me. And so we still have to struggle with this idea that if you're advocating for herbs, then you must have been snowed somehow and you must be just out for the money. We need to recognize that even though in our soul culture, we get it, that is like 100% not what's going on. Other people don't see that. And so we have to be gentle and kind and open and really slow to push our narrative, our ideas on other people. Because again, people believe the narrative. It's hard to believe the data when it contradicts your narrative, which kind of drives your experience. All right. And so what is healing? What is parts? What is holistic? All of those things are things that we grow up in this culture. And we may or may not be ready for change at any one time. But if you just keep being an example, keep being kind and loving, and keep advocating carefully and kindly for better health, better functioning, this can change. Okay. Let's see, I had one or two more things that I wanted to share with you. Just need to make sure that I'm on track here. Some time ago, what happened was people would do research and it wouldn't be very good. So you either had people who really knew herbs and they weren't well trained in research methods, or you had people who were really well trained in research methods that didn't really know herbs. And a lot of times those kind of combinations were what got published. There were some unique that did both, but most of it was one of those two kinds. And so there's a lot of research flaws. Now we're coming to a place to where those flaws are less frequent. They certainly happen, certainly do. And you have mistakes that happen. But there's a lot of really good research out there now. So that's exciting. And so some of the ways that we can use herbs can be really enhanced by this research. On the other hand, some of the ways in which we use herbs can't be studied in the methods that we're using. The methods that we use are really ideal for looking at one effect with one thing. And so when we add, 5 or 10 different herbs, and we're looking at larger effects, or we're looking at individual effects that might happen because you've got 10 different herbs on 10 different bodies, or 100 different bodies who eat 100 different things for breakfast, etc. Our current methods in terms of how we use science, how we use the scientific method, how we apply what we know about science, like a randomized controlled trial or something like that, it's not complex enough to handle the kinds of complexity that we bring it. And so we end up getting answers that may not be truthful answers or comprehensive answers. And so we have to recognize, on the one hand, we do have a lot of really useful information from science, using the scientific method. And then on the other hand, I don't know that we can ever capture the kind of information that we can experience. And so our experience is an observation. It is a part of empirical knowledge, and that experience has to be seen as useful as well. So when we think about greens for our time, we think about how the body needs nutrition and how the body needs flow. And so I'm talking about flow in terms of lymph flow, blood flow, flow through the digestive tract, and in terms of also flow that helps protect us. And so if you can have flow through the body, anything that gets stuck in the body or anything that you end up taking in, breathing, absorbing from what's around you, eating, whatever it is that needs to go, flow can help it go. And then how can you find out a little bit more about how greens for our time can help us? Well, I have something for you. So you can see this is the not for resale version. It's probably backwards for you too. It says greens, greens. Greens, greens, scientific evidence for the power of greens. This is for our time. And you can look up in here various different greens. And what I'm looking at here are the green tops, leaves, stems, sometimes the flowers that are used in a number of the herbs that we have available to us through Soul Naturals. So you can take a look at those greens here in this new book, and that can help you identify some of the ways in which greens can be for your time and what the basic, most current research says about those greens for your time. So I hope you can enjoy that too. That said, I will end, and I hope that you all have a lovely, lovely day, enjoying soaking up all the learning and experiencing that you can. Love you tons. Thanks.
Thank you, Allison. Originally, Allison we were going to move right from that, and so she wished you well, but I've talked her into coming on afterwards for just a second too with Valerie. Super excited about this new book, and I just want to say, this presentation from Allison, if you're like me, go back and watch it again, because there's so much in there, and that's my third time watching it, and I learned, I know you're laughing at me, but that's what I do. I learned a bunch of things this time listening to her that I didn't know last time. So, but I can just say in summary, a lot's changed. If I want to summarize what I took today from Allison, a lot's changed in the world, and we're trying to help people see something that can change their life and make it so much better. We believe that everyone has the right to feel healthy and happy. That's a right that we're all born with, and like Allison says, we have to struggle sometimes, right? That's what makes us potent individuals. I like that. But greens are something different to us than they mean to everyone else. I mean, when I was a kid, it was the spinach or the broccoli or what my mom, made sure we had as part of every meal, which often got stuffed underneath the tablecloth, between the tablecloth and the table. I know that because when I had to do dishes, I'd find like 4 piles where my sisters would sit. But I wouldn't tell because then they'd tell on me. But greens are different to us. They mean so much more. This new book's going to be great from Allison. What are greens really to us at Soul? They include adaptogens, and there's so much more. And this product, Soul Thrive, that is now Soul Avant Greens, is really about what greens really are and really should be to all of us. And I hope that when we think of greens here at Soul and all of our friends, kids, relatives, okay, those that we share with, that in the next 20 years and 50 years, when they think of greens, I hope they think of them totally differently than the way I have. And I've been so blessed to be able to alter in my life because it's changed my life. So Avant Greens. Now, for a second, I promised a question or two. We don't have a ton of time, I know. A question or two from you, okay? If you've got a question for Dr. Allison, specifically about what she presented, and let me just ask Valerie, while you're chatting a minute, we'll take one or two. Valerie, you've used this product. You were part of its formulation as well with Dr. Allison and a few others. Is there a part of Avant Greens that to you is a key element to this discussion that you want to share today? Think of maybe what's in it or how you've used it or an experience. Is there something that you'd like to make sure is heard today as we consider this product and what Avant Greens means here at Soul?
Absolutely. And mine comes more in the use category because as a society, I see us as a society of convenience. And people, even though they understand and hear that we're supposed to have greens, most of them are not going to go out and do the work to get what they need. And the other thing, when you're looking at health, one of the biggest colors that people seem to be afraid of, especially children, is green, or adults getting their vegetables. And so we now have the ability to, even if we're titrating up, we've got the convenience of it all put together. We have the ability to put it into shakes, into cooking, and actually get in and start to bring a missing element into our lifestyle and into our diet that is so very, very critical. And that didn't even begin to touch the power of what sprouts do for elevating the cell. And so to me, what's exciting is we now have a mechanism to get this into and support a lifestyle change.
I love that, Valerie, because there's so many different greens. There's a variety. And I remember Dr. Allison talking about watercress, one of the greens. When we looked at the vitamin, mineral, et cetera, these wonderful nutritive components, there was not one ingredient in the whole formula that had a more broad spectrum than did watercress. And that's just one thing in there. And I always like to think it's the same thing for infatuate. You'd have to go and harvest all around the world to get the mix that you have in this, as you mentioned, convenience, Valerie, that you have in Avant Greens or in infatuate for the good fats. Now, I want to come back to you, Dr. Allison. I saw a question here. Do we have one that we can take from, let's see. Okay, we're right here. This is from Claudia Davis, and this maybe we can go, Allison, for you, and Valerie as well, if you'd like to. There's avocado in this, and I'm allergic to avocado. Okay, so this is back to infatuate. Okay, so it's okay, it could be infatuate. Any comments about someone who might be allergic to avocado and they notice there's avocado in the infatuate? Valerie, do you have a comment on that one?
Yes. So usually what we're experiencing, or I should say it's not uncommon for an experience that we think of as an allergic reaction, actually is our inability to break something down. So the fact that we have that digestive blend in there, if it was me, I would be trying and starting with a small amount and titrating up and allow the body to actually clean itself out. And I have seen so many times, and people finally understand that it wasn't a per se allergic reaction. They just couldn't break it down. So.
Thank you, Valerie. Awesome. Allison, any final comment about, again, you watching yourself? Did you enjoy that as much as we did? Any final comments?
Well, yeah, not enough jokes. That's why that was the first thing I noticed. And the second thing was, I want to make sure that we all think of Avant Greens not as just greens. Like you can think of, oh, nutrition, I need my greens. Avant Greens is designed to be far, far more than that. We have the sprouts, yes. We have watercress, we have greens in there, yes. But we have a ton, 9 different herbs that are there for their tonic or adaptogenic effect. And that tonic effect is really different than just the effect of nutrition. Very, very different. And so you have herbs that will do things to help your body run better. And yes, lots of vitamins from watercress, etc., will help. But you have herbs that will specifically help the gut, specifically help the liver, the heart, etc. And so these are tonic herbs that you could take every day for the rest of your life. And what if you did? What if you started and you saw Avant Greens as something to do daily for your body? Did the same kind of experiment you did with Infatuate, and you said, I'm going to try this every day, and I'm going to see what my experience is, see what my outcomes are, see how I feel, then see the value.
Allison, thank you. Valerie, last thing, favorite way to take Soul Thrive for you?
I love Thrive mixed in with some Vital and Renew. I can't hear you.
Maybe I had the mic too far. I have not tried Renew,
There-
Vital, and Thrive. You gave me an idea. Awesome. Okay, so let's jump. A couple of quick announcements about this. Thank you so much, both Valerie and Allison. Those presentations were fantastic. The information was great. They definitely bear a second watch and a third watch. So as all of these segments, they're recorded and they'll be posted on the Soul Naturals YouTube channel. We do have some announcement, though, with respect to both Avant Greens and Soul Infatuate. These two products, we do believe strongly, are dailies. And part of our goal is to help them become that for everyone, because we know how their life will change, really in every respect. So we've made some changes. One change, yes, the name of Soul Thrive is now Soul Avant Greens. But the second change is, you remember, both of those formulas are very, very broad and complete. They're very expensive because of what's in them and the amount of what's in them, hence such game changers. So there is a new size, and we're going to gravitate to a size that has a price point that people will be a little more, we believe, a little more welcoming to adopt this in part of their daily nutrition. So the Infatuate will move to a 20 serving size. Now, there are 2 reasons for this. The bag will stay the same. The formula stays the same. Currently, there are 30 servings in it. And as you know, one of the favorite games to play is, can I open the bag this month and not spill 5 ounces of it all over, because it's so packed full. And they'll actually fit a little better in the bag. Whereas the current price is $60, you can see the new price point at 20 servings is right kind of in line with the other Soul drinks, okay? So now Infatuate will always be a 20 serving amount at the $42.95. And the Avant Greens will be a 15 serving amount at $39.95 instead of I think it was $50. So both of these have a price point where we hope people will be a little less shell-shocked in terms of that, and will be more open to using these always as part of their daily nutrition and seeing that change. Now both of these will be available very soon, probably in the next few weeks. So we have sometime in September. Stay tuned and we'll give you that exact date. In the meantime, both of the larger sizes of the products are still available. We'll keep them as supplies last. I think it's a possibility we could keep a larger size in the future if that's something that some people want. But the current plan is to move to this size for both of these products, and we'll just sell the other 2 products until the inventory is exhausted. That in mind, then we do have, I believe, a special to share with you. So that's starting right now. I believe Mr. Blake Christensen has activated that in the system. And so you can take advantage of this. I think you save nearly $20. You have the 2 Infatuate. This is the bigger size, the current size of Infatuate. 2 of those for $100 through the end of the weekend. So through, I guess, until Sunday morning. And so take advantage of that. I believe that is all we have this morning. We are going to, in terms of the product discussion, there's a little bit more fun to be had as we finish out our live streaming. Tonight, we will talk about another important piece of product news. Don't miss Soul After Dark this evening, because we're going to talk about Soul Maca XD and why such an amazing and wonderful formula. We felt like we're going to add something new to it. And so we'll talk about that tonight. Thanks again to Dr. Allison and to Valerie for your wonderful information. And I'll turn the time back to Lon.
Thank you, Greg. Are you ready to play another game? All right. The name of this game is Take It or Leave It. That's the name of the game. And you remember last night, I selected a contestant, okay, Kristen Lewinstra. And I believe Kristen has joined us. Okay, she is online. Are you ready, Kristen? I think, can we hear her?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. All right. Now you're coming to us from Kansas, Kristen, is that correct?
I am.
Ah, well, welcome. And congratulations for being our contestant. Now, Take It or Leave It is very similar to Deal or No Deal. Basic concept, all right? We have 14 different prizes that you could potentially win, Kristen. Let's take a look at the prizes you could win. We have a Renew stress ball. Okay, maybe not that exciting. A Soul branded cutting board. Some sunglasses. A Soul hat. A Soul hoodie. A Soul polo shirt. A Soul Essentials diffuser. A Soul Essentials spa pack. A $100 gift card from Hilton Hotels. A Bluetooth speaker. A set of AirPods, Apple AirPods. A new BlendTech blender. A new iPad, and a new 50-inch smart TV. Do any of those prizes sound good?
They sound great.
All right, well, you're guaranteed to win at least one of them. So what you have to do is you have to begin by selecting one of these envelopes. Each of these 14 envelopes contains the name of one of those prizes. So you choose the envelope that you think contains the prize you want to win, and we will set that aside. So which one? Which number are you going to pick?
Number 4.
Number 4. Okay. Envelope number 4 we'll set aside. Now we're going to eliminate the other prizes. So I need you to select 4 envelopes, and we will open them up and eliminate those prizes from the board.
7, 9, 14, and 2.
And 2. All right. All right. Now I'm going to open them up one by one, and we'll see what prizes have been eliminated. Okay. The Soul Essential diffuser has been eliminated. All right. The second prize, the iPad.
Oh, man.
All right. Number 14, the stress ball. And number 2, the $100 Hilton gift card. All right. So, with that being said, those prizes eliminated, our Soul Shop accounting department will now make an offer of a prize that you can keep. The Soul Essential diffuser, okay, it's been eliminated, but you can take the Soul Essential diffuser as your prize, or you can leave it and keep what's in envelope number 4. Leave it. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it.
Gonna leave it? All right, gonna leave it. All right, then I need you to select 4 more envelopes for us to open.
3, 10, 11, and 5.
And 5, okay. All right, I'll read them in that order. So, number 3, we eliminate the hat, the Soul branded hat. Okay, number 10, we eliminate the Soul hoodie. Number 11, We eliminate the BlendTech blender. I'm just as surprised as you are because I have no idea what's in these envelopes. Number 5, the AirPods are eliminated. All right. Let's see what our Soul Shop accounting department thinks now. What kind of an offer are they willing to make?
Be nice, tell me nice.
They're still going to offer the Soul Essential diffuser.
Oh,
I don't know whether we have an abundance of diffusers, but that's what they're willing to offer. Do you want the Soul Essentials diffuser, or do you want to keep the prize that you've selected in envelope number 4?
I'm
Take it
gonna
or
leave
leave
it.
it? Huh? Leave it.
Leave
All
it.
right. I knew that was going to happen once the stress ball was off the board. Okay, 4 more envelopes.
12, 6, 1, and 13.
Okay. All right, number 12. The smart TV.
Oh,
Number 6 is the Soul Essential Spa Pack.
Oh, man.
Number 1 is the cutting board. All right, and number 13 is the Bluetooth speaker.
oh.
All right. You're left with either the
Dang.
sunglasses or the polo shirt. Let's see what kind of offer our accounting department will make now.
Diffuser.
The hat. Huh? The
Tell him to
hat,
roll again.
or are you going to take
Steve,
it,
how I-
or are you going to leave it and hope you've got the polo shirt?
Let's leave it.
Leaving it. All right. So, now I'm going to give you the choice. You can either keep envelope number 4 or you can switch to envelope number 8.
I think I'm gonna keep 4.
Going to keep 4. Okay. Then I'm going to eliminate what's in number 8, and it is the sunglasses.
Woo!
Congratulations, Kristen. You have won a Soul branded polo shirt. Thank you for playing. Thanks for playing Take It or Leave It. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, now we're going to play one more game, okay? But I'm going to ask a member of the studio audience to be our contestant. Now, you're going to think, oh, I already know what's in every envelope. No, there are actually 2 prizes in each envelope, and I'm going to read the prize for the second prize. So, now, here is what I need to do. I need a new contestant. Now, it was Wear Soul Brand Day, right? Wear Soul Green Day, okay? Everyone was wearing Soul Green, Soul Branded. Do you guys remember the show, Let's Make a Deal with Bonnie Hall? And he would pick his contestants based on their outfits, right? So I looked at everyone as they came in, selected the person that I thought was the most Monty Hall, Let's Make a Deal-esque to be my contestant. And Kristen Brunius, there's my contestant for today. So come on up here and let everybody see your outfit. All right, let me put these envelopes back in here. All right. And let's see. Make sure I can do it in the right order. All right, 11. Thanks for playing some game show music for me while I do this. Kendall, this is great. All right, there's number 10, number 3, number 2, number 14, number 9, which would be right there, and number 7. All right. You ready to play? Yep. All right, now you flew in for Soul Virtual 2020, so you're virtually in person. All right. Now, this is a great outfit. A lot of Soul Green, a lot of Soul Brand. So, we're going to play the same game, okay? Same 14 prizes. So let's take a look at the board. Do you remember what they were?
Yes.
All right, and which one did you want to win?
I want the blender.
Wants the blender. Okay, well, which of these envelopes do you think contains the BlendTech blender?
Number 7.
Number 7. All right, it could be because like I said, I don't even know. Number 7. All right. So let's go ahead and eliminate 4 envelopes right now. Eliminate 4 prizes.
2, 4, 6, 8. No.
Is that the final answer? 2, 4, 6, 8?
Yes.
Okay. All right. 2. We got the audience telling her no, those are bad choices. 2, 4, 6, and 8.
No even numbers.
You don't want the even numbers? Oh, see, my wife only likes even numbers. She would have eliminated all the odd ones. All right. So in number 2, you've eliminated the smart TV. Number 4 is the Bluetooth speaker. Number, what was this one? 6 is, let's see, the stress ball. All right. And this one was the Soul Essentials diffuser in number 8. All right. That's our accounting department is going to offer you. It's going to be the Soul Essentials diffuser. I know they're trying to get rid of those. See? So, what do you think? Soul Essential diffuser?
No way.
So you're going to say leave it?
Leave it.
Leave it. All right. Okay. Choose 4 more.
10, 12, 14. I'm out of these.
10, 12. Okay.
Give me a number.
14
1.
and 1. All right. Let's see then. Let's go with number 10. And we're eliminating the AirPods.
Oh.
Number 1. We're eliminating the hoodie. All right. Number 14. We eliminate the iPad.
My kids are going to be really sad.
They're going to be disappointed. And in number 12, we eliminate the Soul Essential Spa Pack. But your blender's still there. Your blender's still there. All right. So let's see what the offer is from our accounting department. The polo shirt.
No way.
No way. Okay. All right. So which 4 do you want to eliminate now? We have 9.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. There we go. All right. In number 3, you have eliminated the polo shirt.
I'm okay with that.
In number 9, we have eliminated the cutting board. In number 11, we have eliminated the sunglasses. And number 13, we have eliminated the hat. All right. I think you're going to get a better offer than we've had. Look at that. Those are only 2 left. It's either a $100 gift card or a BlendTech blender, which is what you wanted. Let's see what our accounting department says about that. The Bluetooth speaker. No. All right. She doesn't want the Bluetooth speaker. She wants what she selected. Now, do you want to keep the envelope that you picked? Lucky number 7. All right. If I can find it, there it is. Lucky number 7. So we will eliminate what is in envelope number 5. The BlendTech blender. Oh, you came so close, but you did win a $100 Hilton gift card. Thank you for playing. All right. That's so much fun. Giving prizes away is so much fun. I'm going to give away some prizes right now. All right? All of our attendees, their names are in here, and I'm going to give away the 4 prizes, or the 3 prizes that we gave away yesterday morning, okay? The hoodie, the T-shirt, and the new Infatuate blender bottle, plus a set of AirPods. So let's give away the hoodie first. All right? And the winner of the hoodie is Emmett Malone. Okay. Spin it around. Let's see who gets the... I'm sure Emmett is glad he won the hoodie and not the tee. And the winner of the t-shirt is Lynette Boute. Lynette Boute. All right. The winner of the blend, or the Infatuate blender bottle is, here we go, Marian Chavez. Marian Chavez. And now for the AirPods. And our winner of the AirPods is Alma Gutierrez. Alma Gutierrez, congratulations to all of our winners. Now, I do have two more names I need to draw out of our bin because they are going to be the contestants in tonight's little competition that we're going to have during Soul After Dark. And the contestants are Christy Gross. So, Christy, I'll be contacting you to tell you how you can log on and be part of it. Then I'll spin it again. Choose one more contestant. And it is Susan Kowalski. Now, if by some chance neither of those or one of those is not able to participate, I'm going to choose an alternate. And I'm going to dig clear down in here. Get somebody's name here. It is Claire Rowland. So, Claire, you're an alternate. If you are not, if these two can participate in the game tonight, I'll put your name back in the bin so you'd still be eligible for other prizes. So, a couple of announcements before we conclude today. I wanted to go over the remainder of our schedule for today. Okay, so from 5 to 6, there is a Soul Introduction Zoom meeting. Okay, there's actually two meetings. There's one in Spanish and one in English. And if you did not receive an email where you have the link to those Zoom meetings, call customer support or contact your upline and get that link. And it's really designed as an introduction to new people, people that are new to Soul. Also, from 7 to 8 p.m. will be our special session, Soul After Dark. As Greg mentioned, we're going to be talking about a new ingredient that has been added to our Soul Maca XD. We're going to be talking about that, and we'll be playing a little bit of a game that we call This or That. Okay. One more announcement that I have. So since everyone is dressed in their Soul Green and in their Soul branded shirts, virtually and also in our live audience, we want you to take a selfie wearing your branded attire or your Soul Green, and then I want you to email your photo to hope@soulnaturals.com, and we'll show our favorite photos tonight during that Soul After Dark session. All right, thanks for being part of our session this morning, and congratulations to all of our winners, and we will see you later this evening.